What do you think is the difference between boogers and goobers, Stimpington?
Astute question, Renwick. Why don't we ask the greatest genius in the world?
Who's that?
Dr. Stupid. Who else?
I like boogers a lot.
Oh boy, I honestly don't know where to even start with this one, but here we go. Ren and Stimpy Adult Party may be one of the most interesting case studies out there for a situation we rarely, if ever, even see. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably are very familiar with the Nickelodeon show Ren and Stimpy, an absurd, gross-out, shock value comedy that was one of the big few cartoons really putting Nickelodeon in place to become the cartoon cultural phenomenon it was. In 1991, the Nicktoons brand came to be with the dubbed Big Original 3, the Rugrats, Doug, and yes, Ren and Stimpy. So you can't skip over the importance of the show and how it pushed the boundaries on Nickelodeon with crude humor, innuendos, and as much gross out humor and slapstick as possible. I mean, at least compared to Rugrats and Doug, this was obviously the one that stood out of the crowd.
Is someone in the crowd?
The show ran until 1995, and that was it. The show's run had come to an end, but the funny thing was, the property of the show didn't really die. The show's creator, John Chris Falusi, who actually was let go from working on the show in 1992 to not being able to ever deliver episodes on time, was always trying to push the envelope, with multiple episodes that could either not premiere on Nickelodeon ever or would just be flat out rejected. The show gained somewhat of a cult following over the next several years after the show had ended, culminating in the parent company of Nickelodeon, Viacom, to contact Chris Falusi to come back to work on a new version of Ren and Stimpy, one that was specifically for a deemed male audience for Spike TV.
For men!
This version of his show would grant him a more open freedom to be a bit more crude, a bit more edge-pushing, and a bit more, well, adult. Without stifling the creativity and freedom as much, in 2003, Ren and Stimpy Adult Party cartoon, specifically dubbed Not for Kiddies, came to be. Adult Party was essentially only made with one main focus in mind for the network, bringing a somewhat already limit-pushing show to the forefront of their adult male cartoon audience.
Men!
So, minus the voice talents of Billy West, who voiced both Ren and Stimpy, the show was able to get back a lot of the original people who worked on the original show behind the scenes and some of the voice actors. So the show would at least be mostly in line with what the fans loved about the original, right?
We're altruists.
Shut up, idiot! She doesn't need to know that we are godless heathens.
Well, Adult Party wasn't a long party. It aired from June 26, 2003 till July 24th. 2003. Yup, just as fast as it came, it went, but at whose fault? Was the show not as well received due to them pushing further cartoon limits? Was it another case of Chris Falusi not being able to cooperate with the network as well and not turn in the shows on time?
Network executives complain about everything.
Did the whole cartoons for adult men thing not work as expected? Surprisingly, it was a bit of all of that. Chris Falusi was trying to push boundaries set for him and his team, trying to get away with more risky writing and themes that the network and TV censors were already displeased with, causing halts in production as they would have to rework, rewrite, or just plan out skip certain episodes from being put on the air. Only 3 of the 6 ordered episodes ever made it to air. They were placed on Spike TV's animation block with other adult male-focused shows like Stripperella and Gary the Rat. Yeah, so some great quality company there. And again, after 3 episodes, not only did the show stop airing, but the whole animation block was put on hold, leaving 3 more hidden episodes of Adult Party cartoon to not see the light of day until the DVD had a release in July of 2006. There was a plan in place to resume the animation block in 2004 and to air the remaining episodes of the show, but unfortunately, that never came to be, and this was the end of Ren and Stimpy aside from the cult following of at least the original show, which easily had some of the most reruns showing on TV sporadically. But how did the fans of the original series enjoy Adult Party? Did they at least get their fix, their fill, whatever they were looking for?
Works pretty good, huh, Ren? Ren? Companion?
Okay, to say Adult Party Cartoon was beloved by fans may be one of the biggest lies ever told in animation fandom. It seemed to mimic really well the look and feel of the original Ren and Stimpy series, with the animation specifically looking and feeling more fluid than ever. But just because the animations had advancements over time, did that make it good? Well, no, it sometimes made it visually interesting, but other than that, the show lacked full-on substance, which we will talk about here in just a second, but this was only one of the problems facing the show. Hardcore fans and critics heavily panned this show for its vile nature and lack of what made the original series special. The adventures, the characters, everything was fundamentally altered. And with only the first 3 episodes airing on TV to be watched and reviewed before being pulled from circulation, provided enough reasoning that there was no need to see any more of that. With headlines and reviews saying that Chris Felucci ruined his own show, worst 2000s animated show ever, the misfire that was Ren and Stimpy, Adult Party Cartoon, and many more. And that's literally only cracking the surface. This show single-handedly stopped the animation block on Spike TV from continuing, and when the DVD came out years later showing the uncut final 3 episodes, those were pegged as even worse than the previous 3 aired offerings. Suffice to say that Adult Party Cartoon was not a well-liked show amongst any of the old fandom and didn't pull any new fandom in. What didn't everyone like about it though? What made this show public enemy #1, and what does it say about the scope of animation, specifically for an older audience at the time?
Stimpy! A house with a doorbell! We've really made it, Ren!
To say the show didn't live up to the expectations is an easy scapegoat to say something is inherently bad, but Adult Party Cartoon failed for far worse and legitimate reasons. Now, gross out humor, slapstick humor, and crude humor are not bad things. It's all about the writing that goes into it to craft it properly, like the original series. The show seemed to focus more on the in-your-face, over-the-top crass dialogue, mixing with extremely grotesque visuals. At times, the show would either be as over-the-top violent for no reason, just pure torture portrayed on the screen with almost no explanation. At other times, well, majority if I'm being quite frank, focused on overtly showing as much skin as possible. The original 3 aired episodes had their fair share of this going on, but the back 3, the final 3, the 3 that were on the DVD pushed beyond these TV censor boundaries, creating what may be the most self-sabotaging, career-halting efforts I have ever seen. Every aspect of what was already wrong with the first 3 episodes is amplified tenfold here, with less plot, more over-the-top nonsense violence, disgusting, gross-out visuals, so disgusting in fact, I can't show you majority of them in this video, plus the amount of nonsensical nudity to the point where you think this is made by someone not affiliated with the show at all, made for another specific website. It's that bad. And just for a little cherry on top of all that, the dialogue written, the shoehorn vulgarity, unfunny messed up jokes and innuendos are what elevates this to one of the biggest missteps in animation history. The wrong way to do a spin-off, the wrong way to treat your characters, and the wrong way to treat your fan base in what feels like you are purposely trying to hurt them.
It hurts! Why, Stimpy? Why? There now. I know it hurts. Why does it hurt?
Man! You need to be locked up! Away from decent, normal people! What kind of a lunatic are you? Do you just walk up to strangers on the street and tell them, "Hey, mister, you want to hear some sick stories of my twisted youth?"
Adult Party Cartoon felt like it forgot what made Ren and Stimpy special. Why was the original show beloved but the new series hated, even while having the original creator back on board? I think the answer lies in exactly everything we've discussed today. What we've seen. A person who wouldn't compromise his own vision, fired off of his own show extremely early on, given a green light a decade later to create it again, but for a little bit of an older audience, yet again facing the same issues. Was this the real version of what he wanted Ren and Stimpy to be all along? Or is this a tactile response, a way to stick it to the same company that scorned the creator before? A way to get even, essentially. It's really hard to say. The show doesn't have much to say about it either. In fact, it doesn't have much to say about anything at all. There was one final episode of Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon left that was never produced. It probably would have ended up straight to DVD entitled Life sucks. And you know what? I think that was what Adult Party Cartoon fully portrayed to us. A disgusting, dirty disaster of a show where all we see was bad things happening to every character. A bunch of nonsense for 20 to 30 minutes on screen just to make you feel bad. Maybe this is a case of a party that needed to end before it started.
Boy, what a waste of time.
The original Ren and Stimpy show was a testament to old Nickelodeon. In fact, I believe it helped usher in a lot of the more grotesque humor found in a lot of Nickelodeon shows later on. And it's fine to have dark humor or innuendos or even be a little bit grotesque here and there. It's all about putting it together properly and presenting it in a manner that makes sense for the show. Don't make the show exist just to portray all this stuff on screen. And I can happily say I never want to watch this show again in my life. But how do you feel about Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon? Did you even know this was a thing that existed? And I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. It almost feels like Viacom's dirty little secret. Let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed hearing about it at least. Hit that like button if so. Press subscribe and click the bell next to it so you'll actually be notified the next time I upload. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.